are for the second part of the 2020 Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team presentation. The press conference is about to start. I'd like to take this occasion to thank all the members of the press again for being here with us today, and all the fans that have tuned in on MotoGP.com's channel. Thank you for being with us today. We are ready to start our press conference. Let me briefly introduce the VIPs in front of me, from left to right. Massimo Meregalli, the team director of Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP. Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP rider Maverick Viñales. Lynn Jarvis, the managing director of Yamaha Motor Racing and the team principal of the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team. Of course, Valentino Rossi, and then Sumi-san, the project leader of the Yamaha YZR M1. But before we start with the press conference, we have a statement from the president of Yamaha Motor Racing and the general manager of Motorsports Development Division, Hiroshi Ito. Thank you.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hiroshi Ito. I am general manager of Yamaha Motorsports Development Division in Yamaha Motor Corporation, Japan, and president of Yamaha Motor Racing. Watch this one. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing that team that will be fighting for Yamaha in the 2020 MotoGP season. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to both of our factory riders, Maverick Viñales and Valentino Rossi, for their big effort last season and their large contribution to setting up for the start of this year. In this Japan test, we will check our new M1's performance again and set up the machine in the right way for both riders, so they can start the season with a good feeling. Managing Director Lynn Jarvis is the driving force behind all Yamaha Motor Racing activity. Together, we operate as the front and rear wheel of our motorcycle. It is necessary to make good traction together in our relationship to do well and move the team and Yamaha's engineering forward. I want to say thank you to him as well, because he was instrumental in creating the right condition for our preparations in these last 2 months. Thanks to his effort, we had a strong motivation and focus for 2020 and a solid basis for the good future afterward from 2021 and beyond. A final thank you is well deserved for all our Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team members, and Yamaha Motor Company engineer, and Yamaha Motor Racing colleagues, who also made a big effort to prepare everything for the start of 2020 in the limited time available since the end of last season. Last year, we struggled a little bit at the start of the season, but for this year, we feel we are better prepared. We have good confidence for this season, so I am very excited to show our performance and create exciting MotoGP plays for the fans all over the world. We will be returning to the top position in MotoGP in the near future. Please look forward with us to a very interesting and exciting race season. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ito-san is the president of Yamaha Motor Racing and the general manager of Motorsports Development Division at Yamaha Motor Company in Japan. And now we are ready to start our press conference. Before offering the microphone to the members of the press, let me just start with one question to Lynn Jarvis, the managing director of Yamaha Motor Racing. Lynn, it was a busy winter, we know. All people working at Yamaha Motor Racing, Yamaha Motor Company know it was a very busy winter filled with hard preparation and important decisions and eventually big announcements. So my question to you, Lynn, is what are your expectations, that you know what happened last winter, what are your expectations for the coming season? And can you make us a brief review of what happened last winter?
Yeah, thank you very much, and also thank you to all the journalists for coming here for the media conference today. Yeah, it's people talk sometimes about the winter break, but we have not seen a winter break this year, neither in Japan nor in Europe. Basically, we've been extremely busy, including our riders. Immediately after the last race, of course, in Valencia, there was the Valencia test followed by the Jerez test. Now, these two tests were very, very important for us for deciding the direction for 2020. So already we made very good progress last year, especially in the second half of the season. And clearly Yamaha was back on track and we found our way. But anyway, we know that we had some deficit in some areas. So we need more. And basically in these two tests, we confirmed the prototype engine for 220 that the Yamaha Japan engineers had designed. So it was very important in those two tests to confirm which direction we were going to take. So that was a clear decision, was taken by both riders, and we moved forward. That meant that the Japanese engineers obviously had to then develop and had to spend a lot of time, energy, and effort to take that decision one step further. And what you will see here in the next 3 days will be the results of their work throughout the winter. So they've been extremely busy indeed. From, let's say, the European side, also we've been very busy due to, let's say, the fact that, in particular, I would say, the riders' market has been, it's very competitive today in Motogp. You have 6 manufacturers that are very hungry to plan their future, and everybody is hungry to capture the riders of the future as well. So we've also faced that situation, especially in January this year, where the market was already getting very, very hot. We had our own riders, existing young, talented riders, pushing us as well, looking for a sense of direction and decision. We then, in making that move, let's say, that we made and the announcements that followed, we firstly consulted with Valentino to understand his direction and his way of thinking about beyond 2020 season. And Valentino quite rightly said that he wanted to spend time, wanted to see the level of his competitive performance before he took a decision. So we were faced in a situation where, frankly, if we waited too long, we would have lost some of our young talent. And so we took a decision as a company to, anyway, we call it in Italian, is the best name, better than British, I think. So we took a booking, an advance booking for 21-22 with 2 of the youngest talented riders within our camp to make sure that we could rely upon them for the following 2 seasons. So I would say that was the main background of that move. We then, on the last week, as you know, we also announced another arrival to our squad, and that was the arrival of Jorge Lorenzo, who's returning to Yamaha after 3 years away. I don't know where he was in his last 3 years, on some sort of holiday, but it's great to have him back to the camp and returning to Yamaha. And you know, last year that we took a decision to change test riders. At that time, we were maybe criticized because people said, they talk about the test team, but now they don't have a rider. anyway, when Jorge decided to retire at the end of last year, we saw that as an opportunity. So we welcome him back. And we think that his support can help us in the 20 season, but also in 21 as well. So that's talking about the future. We've made some changes in our team this year. In particular, we have a new crew chief for Valentino, David Munoz, who will join us as another important change to get the maximum out of the performance on the, so say, Valentino side of the garage. So in discussion with Valentino, we made a change there. And we really want to focus now on 220 season. So we did these announcements early to get it out of the way, and we are fully committed to 220. And we will give our maximum effort to Maverick, who obviously decided to stay with us in the future as well. But we saw him stepping up last year again, refining himself as the bike found himself. So we expect a lot from him. And we also expect a lot from Valle. And I think that these new performances on the bike should give him also the chance to perform at his best level again. So honestly, I think it's going to be a very exciting season. We don't know our competitors' performance. We saw a little bit in the shakedown test, but you can't tell anything yet. So we are as curious as you are to see what is our benchmark, what is our level compared to our competitors. But trust me, Yamaha Japan is fully committed, Yamaha Racing is fully committed to extracting the maximum performance, and our goal is to return to be world champion. And that's what we will be trying to do all year.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Thank you for your exhaustive explanation of the path we went through to arrive here in Sepang for the first Motogp test in 2020. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's your turn. Please raise your hands and ask your questions to our VIPs sitting here. Just one courtesy, please introduce yourself before your questions, so that especially Sumi-san, who might not know who all of you are. So please introduce yourself and then ask your questions. Paolo Scalera.
Paolo Scalera, gp1.com. I would like to ask a question to Lynn. I would like to know which one of the riders that you convinced to stay with Yamaha was more difficult to convince? Maverick, Jorge, or to accept the fact that Valentino hasn't decided yet?
It's difficult to answer that question. I would say, honestly, the most difficult for me was the discussion with Valentino, because when we recognized his, shall we say, requirement and request to delay the decision, which we totally understand, it had consequences. So the other discussions were more positive because they were only positive. In the case of Valentino, the consequence of our meeting, which we had together, was that if we needed to wait, then we would not be able to prolong the career in the factory team. But as you know, we have already assured Valentino, should he choose to continue in MotoGP, he will have the full support of Yamaha Motor Company.
Hi, David, it's Motor Matters. Question for you, Valentino. Does this, obviously this is a strange situation for you. Does this make it more or less likely that you will retire? Does it have any impact at all on your own decision about your future, or are you still just determined to keep racing as long as you're competitive?
Yeah. Allora, from one side, there was a difficult decision for me because, like Lynn said, I know that waiting have a consequence, and the consequence is that don't continue in the factory team. But from the other side, was not difficult to take decision because I don't want to continue if I'm not competitive. Because anyway, for try to stay at the top in every sport, especially when you are not still not very young, you need a lot of effort. And forgive the maximum, you need to work every day in the modern MotoGP. So these you can do if you have motivation, if you enjoy, and the results are the most important part. So for this reason is like this, but I know that I ask to Yamaha the support, and they say yes if I want to continue, because my target is the first target is anyway continue in 2021, and we have a fantastic team that is the Petronas team that is demonstrate that they are at very high level and they are very competitive. So at the end, will not change a lot.
Another question, this time to Valentino. In the case you will decide to continue in 2021 and 22, you will get with you your actual team, I mean all the mechanics and techniques that you have here now, or you will change to Petronas with a completely new team?
Allora, first of all, it's not 21, 22, but I want to consider year by year. I think is better. And also Yamaha is agree. About the team, we don't know. We don't speak yet, because it will depends very much from also the decision from Quartararo, if he takes somebody from his team or everybody. So we don't speak. We still don't speak about this. But in one side, if you make a change, you make a complete change, or some other way. We don't decide yet. The important for me is have the first of all that Yamaha is happy that we continue together and continue to trust in me, and have a factory bike and the maximum support. So like this.
Again for you, Valentino, what's your opinion about the choice of Fabio?
Like we spoke also last year. Sometimes I think that Yamaha make the right choice, especially because Quartararo last year was impressive for everybody. I think that the people in the paddock know that Quartararo can be very competitive. But not like this. Is a surprise, more or less, for everybody, and is very, 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 very young and very strong. So I think that is the right decision.
But it's also a risky choice because he didn't win nothing. He's not the world champion. He didn't win a race in MotoGP. So it's a bet on the future.
Yes, but you have to consider that he finished second 4 times maybe. And last year have Marquez and Honda that were another level, you know. So also for this reason, Quartararo doesn't win. But have some races like now remember maybe Valencia or Thailand or Misano that he arrived very, very close. And for a rookie, it's not easy.
A question for both Maverick and for Valentino. Obviously, Jorge is back as a test rider. Could you explain how important that is for both of you and for Yamaha to have a rider like Jorge on the bike?
Yes, for me it's really important because as also we are nearly from the same place, we spoke same language, you know, also characteristics are very similar. For me it's much more easy to work, and also he has been world champion with this bike, so he knows what to do to be world champion. And you know, in all this year, we didn't been that competitive to win one title. So to have the opportunity to have their own words from Jorge to support the team and to understand what you have to do to be world champion will be very important. Also, for the development of the bike, Jorge has been in Yamaha on the best days of Yamaha, so he will know very good what we need to improve.
For me, Jorge is perfect for Yamaha, for us. Because so maybe somebody have, first of all, I push a lot with Lin and with Yamaha for speak with Jorge, because I think that is a clever decision. Maybe somebody have some doubt because Jorge last year at the end was a lot in trouble with the Honda, but I always said to them that it's enough that he ride one day the M1 and he can be competitive. And in fact, it was like this already the first day. And for us it's important because now in the modern Motogp is I don't want to say crucial, but very important to have a good test team that bring data and everything. But you need a rider that can be strong, can be fast, can make the same lap time than us. So for us, I think that will be a big help for improve the bike in a shorter time.
Sumi-san, question for you. Last year, the one thing that the riders kept asking for was more power, a faster engine to be able to keep up on the straight. Obviously, Lin was explaining that you tested the engine at Jerez and in Valencia, and that seemed to be the right direction. Can you tell us a little bit about the performance you expect from the new engine for this year?
We started developing from middle of the last year and very hard during the winter. Of course, I cannot complain, but for engineer is always no winter break. But this year I cannot complain so much because office side is more busy. So, but we put all the effort, not only our inside our developing, but all the Yamaha's resources. So we try to improve, not finished yet, but we could see the specific improvement. So we want to confirm in these 3 days. So yeah, we believe we can more close to the others.
Yes, I have a question for Sumi-san first and then for Lin Jarvis. Sumi-san, you just mentioned the internal resources inside the company. Can you explain how or in which area these resources came from, aerodynamics, electronics, or whatever?
Yeah, we are the company or manufacturing and developing the motorcycle. Our M1 is one of the kind of the motorcycle, and we have many kind of engineers for designing and some computer simulation for something everywhere aerodynamics and some combustion engine. So we put asking to be supported from every side, and also for the manufacturing side, we together all the resources to our project. Yeah, we appreciate for the cooperation for the all Yamaha here.
Thank you. Lina, regarding the test project, is Jorge to test things that will be tested first in Japan with the Japanese test rider, and the second, is there a chance that he can race a Grand Prix during the season in case of he's doing well?
Yeah, the basic mission of Jorge or this, should we say, European-based team is obviously the bread and butter testing will be done by the Japanese engineers in Japan. We have two very riders. We have two very experienced riders, Nozane and Nakasuga. So they will continue their work without any change. The difference means is that now we can take whatever they are trying and believe could be good, we can then bring it to a Grand Prix track with a Grand Prix rider at Grand Prix speed, and we can get a real feedback of how that may work in race time. Because as you know, with the change of the calendar for next year, there's less and less testing for the official rider. So we are obliged and forced to step up. And one of the disadvantages that the Japanese manufacturers have compared to Europeans, obviously, is the location. So we do a lot of our bread and butter testing in Japan in our own private test track, Fukuroi, or also sometimes at Motogp. But that doesn't give us the opportunity to test it at Grand Prix tracks that we are using very frequently, obviously, in Europe. So I think that this will give a better bridge between what we think may work, and then we will probably know whether it's going to work before we'll give it to Maverick and Valentino to try. Wild card, yeah. We have discussed it, and it's optional. So it's optional for Jorge and optional for us. So if he feels he would like to do, and if we have the capacity to do it, then we will do it. Obviously, our goal, the main mission of Jorge's contract with us is development of the bike. So we are more likely to select a Grand Prix where it has a good sense for us to do the wild card and then do a test, rather than to, shall we say, just pick a race out of the blue where there's no logic to do a wild card. So it's a matter that we will discuss together, and I think Jorge needs to feel comfortable and needs to feel that he will be up to racing speeds. But why not?
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, because we've been talking about him a lot so far. So I'd like to ask you to join me and put your hands together. We invite Jorge Lorenzo to sit with our VIPs, but especially to welcome him back in the Yamaha family. Thank you, Jorge. Jorge, my first question then is to you, and then I will leave the microphone again to our friends, members of the press. Jorge, you had a chance to ride the M1, and using your words, your beloved bike. So I'd like to ask you, especially after the very emotional press conference in Valencia last year, where all of us attended and cried also. So what was your feeling to be back on the M1 2 days ago?
Well, first of all, I'm happy to be back, let's say, home. My real home is at Lugano, as you know, but say my professional home. For the moment, I can say this is Yamaha, firstly because I've been in Latin years, and secondly because it's the only Motogp team where I won world titles, and thirdly because I always felt very comfortable as I could see again these 3 days. So I'm very glad to be back again, and very quickly this work that we started the other day and help especially Yamaha to win again another world title.
Thank you, Jorge. Please.
A question for Lynn and a question for Jorge. I think a question for Lynn first. Well, the same question for both of you, but for you first, Lynn. Did you get an angry phone call from Alberto Puig when this was announced?
No, I didn't. But I don't really know why. So our discussion only with Jorge. We, as management of the Motogp teams, we don't tend to talk a lot.
Well, in my case, I have to say that, as I said in other interviews, Alberto was always very smart and always very loyal, and I always got full support in the year that I spent in Honda. And also for that reason, and also I'm very grateful that they didn't put any clausule to avoid me to ride with another bike this year, because they could do, but they didn't. So for that reason, I can work in that role. So yeah, I didn't receive obviously any call from Alberto, but I always be very grateful for his support in 2019 season and to turn up this this class after break my contract with Honda for 2020.
No more questions from the floor?
Jorge, do you think you could reconsider your decision to stop racing? Because the market is open for 2021 and some teams are looking for riders.
You know, my first idea when I retired was to retire completely. I think I spent 18 years of my life full commitment for win and for compete and for working really hard to get my mission. Now I think I am a different stage of my life. But also I have to say that the other day I enjoyed a lot riding the Yamaha. I feel again the happiness I didn't feel for a long time. Maybe the last time I felt a professional happiness was when I win in 2018 3 races in four races. This stage was very happy. But unfortunately with injuries and bad results I couldn't feel the same in this last year and a half. And for the moment, these 3 days were very happy for me. So if I say in Valencia, there was 99% of chances to don't come back. Now can be 98.
One question to Jorge. I imagine that because you are able to ride the Yamaha, so giving the Yamaha the proper and right information to develop the bike, you can tell us also in 2 words, how can you describe the last 3 bikes you have rode in the last 3 years? Just 2 words to describe Ducati, Honda, and Yamaha.
Well, Ducati is not very difficult to describe also from the outside, but also from the inside. It's obvious that it's a very powerful bike. So I would say the power. Honda, difficult to describe because I suffered a lot this year. But let's say it's very agile bike. And Yamaha keep being the smoother bike and the more easiest bike. You are a smooth rider.
And the diplomacy award for 2020 goes to Jorge Lorenz. Manuel.
Maverick, you won races last year. What do you need to beat Mr. Unbeatable Marquez? What do you exactly need?
Start first. I need to start first. Or at least first or second. It's very important. Because all last year we have been struggling on the first laps. Because we already know where we were missing everything. But I think this year we are working very hard to at least improve these first laps. Because after lap 10, I think we are always able to ride on the best lap times and on the best pace. But it's important to be there from the first lap. So for myself, for our part of the team, the main focus is to improve the start and the first lap. That will be the key to work against Mark for sure.
I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me remind you a couple of things before we wrap this press conference. Firstly, Valentino will be back in a few minutes for his own media debrief, followed by Maverick's media debrief in nearly 20 minutes. After that, there would be the Petronas Yamaha primary racing team press conference here, so do not miss it. And after the press conference, light refreshments for all the members of the press in the foyer of the press conference room. And now, to wrap up this press conference, gentlemen, can you please stand up for a final picture? Please remain seated for photographers and cameramen. After the TikTok performance in Jakarta, Indonesia. And now can we have the three riders together, Vale, Maverick, and Jorge? Thank you.